Well, it's that time again for another episode of Cruising on the Edge, where there's real talk, real recovery, real purpose, and real results. My name is Carol Cruz. I am the host of Cruising on the Edge. I want to welcome those that may be here for the first time, and those of you that are coming back, thank you so much. Remember to like, subscribe, and share any episodes that really resonate for you. And, this space is for people that are navigating real change in real life. And I am a person in long term recovery, and I do share a lot about the changes that I have experienced on not only on this platform, but other platforms. I'm recovery from substance use and mental health, depression, anxiety, PTSD, all of the above. So during my recovery, and again, always in recovery, but during like the earlier points, and actually not too long ago, but I used to hear this phrase, resentments are like taking poison and expecting something bad to happen to someone. Has that ever happened to you? So today's topic or today's title is What Hat Are You Still Wearing? And are you holding on to resentments? Is that the hat of that you're wearing currently? So I want to first just share with you a journal entry that I put in last year. Actually, it was 8/18, 2025. And I always start my journal entries with a title. So this one was The Perfect Hat. I'm grateful I have many opportunities to try on different hats in my life. I haven't always worn them perfectly, but I have tried my best at the time. God has given me the gifts and the tools and the desire to change, transform. What hat am I wearing right now that fits in my life? Well, I've had to decide today I'm wearing a hat that makes me feel good about me. Sometimes I'm not sure if I should be keeping certain hats because they may be too worn out and may need to be tossed because they no longer fit. And they're getting in the way of something new and more suitable for my needs. So that was last year. So that's what, when I read that yesterday, I said, oh, that would be a great topic. And then another reading that I often share here on Living a Life of Awareness by Don Miguel Ruiz talked about resentments. And I said, ooh, wearing a hat of resentment. What does that look like? So that's why I wanted to share that. So before I get into the negative side of holding resentments, I had resentment towards other people, even resentments towards myself, should on myself, saying, you should be doing so much better. You should have gotten that job. Or I was resentful towards, my ex and things that he said. And resentments have many shapes and forms, right? And they also can come from places of fear. When I'm feeling resentment towards someone, it might be because I'm afraid of losing that person, or I am resentful because they disappointed me, or they betrayed me, or I disappointed myself. I can't tell you how many times that I self-medicated because either, again, I was experiencing something or someone that was causing me this sense of anxiety and fear. And I think I shared this in another episode about how intoxicating anger can be. So anger attached to resentment could be very intoxicating. I didn't need drugs and alcohol. When I started being resentful towards, relationships, my boss, because I didn't get that promotion or raise, or even I got let go for I didn't see for any reason. It changed, being resentful for me changed and shifted my whole perspective. And it also reduced the amount of trust that I had towards other people and myself because I was just so engulfed in that sense of resentment. It is not satisfying. You get instant gratification, just like me taking poison and expecting something bad to happen to someone else. It feels good for a moment, but long-term resentment can affect me not only emotionally, it can affect my whole body, my whole nervous system. And I'm not walking around with a smile. And if I'm walking around with a smile, it's more like, it's fake. It's not authentic because inside this anger, this resentment is just eating me away. So how did I transform? How did I start working through what was causing me to feel this way? What was causing me to feel resentment towards people, places, things in my life that chances are I really didn't have control over other people and how they disappointed me or they betrayed me. What did I need to do to start protecting myself? First, I had to learn where the source was. And I realized uh, when I was younger, I was not with both my biological parents for about 18 months, maybe almost 2 years. At the age of 3 to 5, I, like most kids, thought that what adults told you to do was what you needed to do, that you don't go against that. When my mother finally created a home, a safe space, a safe place for me, I realized that I started to feel a sense of resentment, especially when my sister or my brother would come to visit. They had a different father, and they would come to visit, and I would see how happy they were. And their life seemed so rich. And I, I thought, well, why aren't I feeling that way? I didn't realize it was anger and resentment that I was feeling at that time. But as I got older and different events were happening, I was resentful. I became resentful towards my mother for being an alcoholic, especially when I started diving into or deep diving into alcoholism and drug addiction. I was really resentful. If she would have kept me instead of giving me away to my dad, and then I was taken away, to stay in a facility for those 18 months. It was an orphanage. And I realized all of those things that I was bottling up were caused by disappointment, were caused by fear. And they turned and transformed into anger and resentment. I carried around resentment like a shield. I used it as a mask, shield, what I thought was protection. It kept you at a distance. If I showed any sense of resistance, of wanting to be close to you, or you had something that I wanted, but I didn't know how to get it, I didn't know how to ask for it, I was resentful towards you. I was resentful because I wasn't a very smart kid and I wasn't when I say not very smart kid, I wasn't, uh, you know, I wasn't, how do I say it? I didn't get the same attention towards my learning. Like I was never diagnosed with a learning disability, but I struggled in retaining, keeping memory and remembering things. Uh, I didn't do well in math. I didn't do well in English. I copied from the back of the book because when it just seemed so hard and I wanted people to come and rescue me and help me. And there were a few people that did that, teachers, very few, that recognizing that I was struggling, but I was really carrying this weight of resentment. So I brought a couple hats over, and you may have seen the thumbnail of me, kind of going through hats and or just the sense of disappointment. And that was me. So this is one hat, my Jersey hat. This one I just got at the podcast summit from the Caviar Club. I like this one because it's purple and it has these clouds on it. It's really nice. I like the hat. And I got my butterfly hat, and on the side of it, it says, "Life is good." So I brought out these hats because these are the ones I kept. This is my summer hat. This is the one I wear during the summer. But I kept those hats because they were important to me. They make me feel good. They bring me joy. I wear them, on a rainy day or when I don't want to fluff up my hair. I know it's short and I don't have a lot to do with it, but some days, I just don't want to put the gel in my hair and I don't want to do all of that. So I'll put on a hat, but it's not a hat to hide anymore. Resentment kept me hidden. I allowed it to keep me hidden. I allowed it to push people away, like I said earlier. I had to become aware. What was it that was causing me to be resentful? And like I said, I'll go back to it was fear. Fear of letting my guard down and letting you in. So how do I do that today? How do I change? How did I transform that feeling? Well, I had to start asking myself some questions like, what hat am I still wearing? When I'm starting to feel anxious or I'm starting to feel a certain way towards someone at work, that means I'm probably shutting down and I'm not communicating how I feel. I'm not tapping in saying, hey, Carol, what's going on? So ask yourself, what hat are you wearing today? It's a beautiful day out here in Connecticut. I need to get myself out and do some walking and get some exercise in. But ask yourself, what hat are you wearing? What hats do you need to start either donating, tossing, asking questions? If you're resentful towards someone or about something, ask yourself those questions even before you talk to that individual. You disappointed me because you did X, Y, and Z. I think we are so afraid. Well, rather text somebody versus meet them in person and saying, when you said you would show up here at a certain time and go with me to somewhere and you called me at the last minute or you didn't call at all, that was disappointing. It's easier to say that than carry the weight of resentment. It's uncomfortable, but you'll get over that. I learned to get over it. How do you get over it? Is that it's again one step at a time. one motion at a time, one ask at a time. If you need help on setting boundaries versus setting resentments, I'd rather set boundaries today than set up myself for a life of misery because I'm carrying around this weight of resentment. You can ask yourself, what did it why did it once protect me? Or what did it do to protect me at one point in my life? Well, I wore the hat of resentment, like I mentioned earlier, as a sense of protection because didn't know where I couldn't find my voice. I didn't know what my voice needed to sound like. I was waiting always for someone to say, Carol, do this, Carol, do that, because that's what I first was connected to when I was in that orphanage. They told you when to go to sleep. They told you when to wake up. They told you what to wear, when to wash, when to play. When someone would come to visit you, they even had a script on how you should react or respond. I didn't realize that I was carrying around this heavy toolbox of resentments. So when I got into recovery, I did a fourth step, right? I did several fourth steps, to be honest with you. And through doing that work, looking at assets and liabilities, people that I was holding resentment towards my family, my siblings. I have only recently, in the last year or so, one of my siblings decided just to cut me off. And I thought, what did I do wrong to cause this person to not want to talk to me anymore? And not even not wanting to talk to me, they don't talk to my children, my son. And they've never seen my grandchildren. And that I could feel it in the pit of my stomach. That kind of pissed me off. Not kind of, it pissed me off. But then I realized that wasn't me. That wasn't about me. And that's the other thing. I don't need to plug myself into every situation when somebody reacts or responds in a way that I am not able to control. Like, I don't need to plug myself into that. If I did something to cause, and I've acknowledged that, and you still choose to keep your distance or not communicate with me, that's still not me. That's still not my fault. I did the work. So I had to realize or look at when someone hits a threshold of the door, I don't know what's going on with them. My sibling wasn't telling me. I reached out to their child and one of their children, and again, I wasn't getting any answers. So I had to let it go. So part of resenting is also learning to let go. Because if you don't let go, you're going to get you dragged, literally. Or it's going to show up in addiction or unhealthy relationships or, putting yourself down on a daily basis or losing jobs. It's going to show up somewhere. It's like that pimple that all of a sudden shows up. And luckily, I don't get them like I used to when I was a teenager. But when I eat the wrong things, if I'm eating resentments, eventually it's going to show up out here. That's a visual for you. It's going to show up. It's guaranteed. Somewhere inside or outside, it's going to show up, or both. Another question you can ask yourself, does this hat still fit me for who I am today? No. Those hats that I finally discarded. I didn't even want to donate them. I know in my thumbnail it shows me with a donation box. That's how I wanted it to look. But and some hats, I just don't fit me anymore. So that's why I wanted to donate them. But there's others I literally had to put them in the garbage, throw them in the dumpster because one, I didn't want to, give someone else the resentment. And I realized that was a pattern for me too. If I was resentful towards you, or I was resentful towards somebody else, and I came to you and I said, "Do you know what so and so did this, that, and the other?" And I was looking for instant gratification, confirmation. I needed you to confirm to me I had justification to be resentful. I don't want to do that anymore. That is unnecessary gossip. That's unnecessary energy. So, one of the ways that I have, again, is sitting down with myself, asking me, is this serving me today? Is my anger, is my resentment, is my unhappiness, is my desire to see or want somebody else to do what I want them to do, is that healthy? No. Do I want to keep, just being on the edge? We're all cruising on the edge of life. That's natural. But if I want to, with no safety net, like I have safety nets today. And one of the biggest ones is looking at myself and providing myself with that unconditional love that says, you know what? I'm human. Yes, this disappointed me. This is where it's coming from. This is what I need to do to change it. And the other question might be, what am I ready to wear instead of, I'm sorry, what am I ready to wear instead? Do I want to wear peace? Do I want to wear grace? Do I want to wear discernment? Do I want to wear freedom? Do I want to be free? Because resentment will keep you in bondage. It will keep you literally in bondage unless you make a move. And it doesn't have to be a huge shift. It's a practice. It's a daily practice. So in closing, I just want to put this out there for you. I'm going to read it. You don't have to hate the hats that helped you to survive. I had many, many hats that I had to keep. I had to keep like a security blanket. They helped me to survive. You can thank it for what it's taught you. You can take it off. You can take it off and make room for something that fits the person that you're becoming. It's cute, right? So that's the end of this episode. I hope there was something I said that resonated. Again, please like, subscribe, comment, and share it with someone that you may know that might be carrying some resentment, that needs to let it go, or needs a friend like you that may be able to, or a family member that may be able to help them get through that. Because resentment also keeps me isolated. And that was one of the first topics I talked about in transformation on the edge. Is that isolation is not healthy. And I have a choice today. So until next time, keep doing the work, keep showing up, and keep cruising on the edge. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.